Good morning, dear participants. I welcome you all to this AICT Atal FDP on ROAD, that is Response Effectiveness, Organization, Attitudinal Shift and Decision Making, that is being organized by Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering of Guwahati University. I heartily welcome all participants to this first session of the FDP, that is a Faculty Development Program. I hope you will be having a wonderful time with us for the next 5 days with various sessions to be taken by different experts in this field. So with this, I would like to start our first session today, and we already have our expert today, that is Mr. Vivek Bansal has already joined us to deliver his talk. I welcome him to this session. Before I hand over the session to Mr. Vivek Bansal, I would like to give a short introduction of our expert today to all the participants here. Mr. Vivek Bansal is an educator of mindfulness, meditation, emotional balance, healing, and essential life skills at Grow with Vivek, Rishikesh. He offers personalized coaching sessions and courses for holistic growth, intra and interpersonal, and applying meditation, mindfulness, and other essential life skills. It is interesting to know that he has experience in two diverse fields. That is, he is a certified yoga instructor with a master's in yoga from Uttarakhand Sanskrit University, Haridwar. And at the same time, he has also been a successful software engineer with a PG degree in telecom software from Pune
I'm
Institute of
not availing
Advanced
this
Technologies,
platform
Pune.
for
So after a short stint as a
tax
software
savings.
professional, he developed his
Tax.
passion towards spiritual growth to empower people, and since then has been engaged in empowering people by bringing clarity and self-awareness and believing in transforming all layers of one's personality, physical, emotional, intelligence, and spiritual. He has dedicated his life as a monk to empower the youth of India to balance all the aspects of their life. He has rich experience in delivering motivational talks in various sessions, including Atal FDPs all across the country. So I hope it will be a very wonderful session, and all our participants will gain immensely from his delivery today. So with this, I welcome Mr. Vivek Bansal to this session, and I would like to hand over so that he can continue forward with his talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Aradhana ma'am. I just want to check my PPT first. Can you just help me with that? Whether it's coming or not? Just wait. It is showing presenting your screen. Is it coming, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if I change it now,
It's visible.
visible. And if I do like this, now also, is it coming?
Yes, sir.
Changing now? Okay, great. Now how to go back? Yes. So welcome everybody for this inaugural talk. And the inauguration has happened, but this is our first talk, I think, in this FDP. And we are starting with a topic called organizing self. So when we talk about self, self can be taken from various aspects. And which part of self you want to organize, that is also need to be defined. So in today's talk, I'm mostly going to focus on organizing yourself from personal point of view and professional point of view, both aspects. And mostly we'll be talking about how will you manage your time and energy. So not wasting much time, I'll directly come to the presentation. And the way of presentation will be like not many participants are there. I think only 25 currently. So I would encourage if in between, like I will take a pause like after 20 minutes, after half an hour. And if you want to interact in between also, you can do that. And in the end, definitely we'll have some question answers. But since it's a very practical topic, if somebody wants to, like some pressing question is there, we can interact in between also. You can raise your hand. There is a facility here down in your app, Google Meet, raising the hand. So like that. So when we talk about organizing self, mostly the issue what people face in today's time, common problems which generally people have, they complain basically that I'm busy. I'm very busy in life. I don't have time. I'm not happy with my life. I don't feel I have achieved anything this year. I don't have control on my life. I wish I have more than 24 hours per day so that I can get more things done. But unfortunately, we don't have more than 24 hours. We have to manage in 24 hours only. And time is one of the most precious thing which is there on this planet. We can buy everything, with money also. Although many things we cannot buy with money also, but time is something which can really not buy with money. Because whatever time we have, it is gone, it's gone. We may keep worrying, we may keep crying. Oh, I lost that particular year because of 1 mark in the exam. Or I missed the train just by 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute. I missed the plane by a few minutes. So like that, when you miss it, you miss it. At the same time is in our hands because we can plan for it. Like another point is written here is, I don't have control on my life. What does it mean? It means that sometimes we are so overwhelmed with many things happening. Life just goes on, like firefighting every day. I don't even know what I'm doing, what I'm going to achieve in next 5 years, 10 years. But chal raha hai. Whatever is coming, I am just fighting with it and I am just living one day at a time. People are telling me to do something, events are happening, I'm just participating, but there is no clarity, there is no goal, there is no idea what is happening to my health, what is happening to my family, what is happening to my social life. It's just going on because whatever comes, I just deal with it. But that's not a very intelligent way of living your life, my dear friends. I don't feel I have achieved anything this year. Why you don't feel? Because you have not planned anything for this year. And even you have planned, that plan was not planned in a way, the direction you wanted to take your life. That's the problem. Like I'm going from down to top. I'm not happy with my life. Why we are not happy? Because we don't even know what makes us happy. As we will be discussing more in future sessions, I'll have 2 more sessions with all of you. And I'll share with you that most of the time we don't even know what we need in our life. And because we don't understand what we need in our life, we are trying to gather things which are not going to satisfy us. So when we talk about organizing self, self includes everything, my dear friends, as we'll be discussing. And I don't have time, this is a myth. Because we always have time for something for which we give priority. Or if we plan for something, we'll find time. Otherwise, others will plan for us. So these are the common problems which we will face when people feel that life is going out of control. And most of the people, those who say this, they are the people who don't know how to take the responsibility of their life, how to take the driver's seat in the car of their life. They allow others to drive their life. They allow others to take control of their life. And they just keep doing what others want them to do. And if you allow others to take control of your life, how can we feel happy? So all these things are very much connected, interrelated, and they need to be resolved. Now here I am showing you this chart. It's chart of a human function curve. This is a very common thing which happens, especially people who are working in the professional world, whether even in the academic world. Nowadays the pressure is so much, and you start working, you start your work, and you're putting your best into the work. You're not paying attention to your health, you're not paying attention to your recreation, you're not paying attention to your social life, and you just keep working, and performance keep on increasing, and you feel happy because people around you and your bosses, they are encouraging you, they're supporting you, they're so happy because you're performing so well, you're getting promotion also, you're working like 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, there is no end even on the weekends, just working, pushing yourself to the limits. And there is one stage which comes, that E point, here you see exhaustion. There's exhaustion at the physical level, exhaustion at the emotional level, mental level, intellectual level. At all the levels, person feel really exhausted. And instead of graph going upward, graph start going downward suddenly. Instead of having intended performance which you were expecting, you started having a performance which is based on ill health, I point, if you see. And if you continue with this ill health, then gradually it leads to breakdown. It's a very common thing which is happening in people life nowadays, because people are not able to balance, people are not able to understand where to take a break, where to just say I don't want to do something. Mind is so active nowadays because of the gadgets, because of social media. All the time mind is just running, and there is a great need for our mind to slow down. Otherwise mind also, like any other organ, is like a machine, it will get heated up. So mentally we'll get exhausted, there are panic attacks comes, there is a very famous term which is there in the corporate world, it's called burnout. You feel like burned out completely. So we need to see whether we are reaching that stage of exhaustion. And if we are reaching to that stage of exhaustion, we need to really introspect and become more aware and learn some mindfulness techniques, mindfulness ideas, which will help you to learn to live you in the present, learn to live you balancing all the aspects of your life. So most of the time the problem comes because of there is a gap between expectation and reality. More gap, more stress. People have so many expectations nowadays. Now there is nothing wrong to have expectations, but the problem comes when you have expectations more than what you can chew or you can bite, to fill your plate more than what you can chew. And this happens because people around us are trying to do so many things. Friends are trying to do so many things. On social media, people are doing so many things. But we forget that their situation, their surrounding, their support system may be different than our social system and support system. And also, we are seeing only one aspect of their life when they are watching them on social media, when we are meeting them also. We really don't know the complete picture of anybody's life. So just imitating somebody and trying to have our expectations also based on what others are doing in their life, it will create more stress, my dear friends. Because when we are trying to aim for something, we also need to consider that what is the reality in my situation? Am I supported with some siblings, some friends? How much work I have to do at home? If you're a lady or if you're a man, whatever, how much work I have to deal with my children, with my in-laws, how much loan I am carrying on my head. There's so many factors which need to be considered before deciding what we want to aim in life. What is value system I have, how much I care for, different aspects of my life. So without considering that, if we just keep on planning or aiming, gap will increase between expectation and reality, and stress will increase. So one of the first thing when you want to organize your life, my dear friends, first thing you have to find out what is your priority in life. What are the priorities? Because most of the time we have misplaced priorities. What is the meaning of misplaced priorities? Misplaced priorities means we don't even know where to focus. Our mind or our plans are just like a tube light or bulb or like sunlight, which is diffused in all the directions. So, unless we learn to channel, like this boy is channeling the sunlight through the lens and focusing that sunlight on a piece of paper, and I'm sure you must have done this experiment in your childhood or as a play, whatever you want to call it, that you took a lens and we would burn a newspaper with that channeled sunlight. Similarly, when we focus all our energy and by focusing all our energy into one direction, then we can achieve wonderful results. But what happens in today's time? People just keep getting carried away what others are doing. And if you keep getting carried away what others are doing, that will be a very unfortunate situation. There is another example here, channeled hydraulic energy. The same water, when it is channeled, and the electricity can be created. So success. Let's first define about success. What is success? Let me take a break for a second and ask you, what do you define by success? If anybody would like to interact, you can write on the chat box or you can just speak it out. Just unmute yourself. What do you feel? How do you define success in your life? What is success? What is the key to success? Because sometimes people say, somebody is written real life presentation. Achha, okay, sorry. When you are working in an organization, you are not planning your work, only managers plans. Okay, that's a beautiful thing. We can talk about it. But first, let answer my question. What is the success? That's a very good question somebody asked, but I'll address this just after 1 or 2 minutes. Anything that gives happiness and satisfaction is success. Beautiful. Disha Khandare. So anything that gives happiness and success. The key to success is to enjoy the task at hand. Oh, that's also wonderful. Anything else, guys? Else? If goals are achieved, that is success. Wonderful. So many wonderful points are coming up. Success is satisfying yourself, doing what we like. Oh wow, that's really good. Yeah. So we'll cover these points. You're talking very nicely. Improvement of oneself than yesterday. That's another beautiful point. What about people think success means just getting money, having a promotion, or big car, big house? Are they not success? This is also success, but that is only one aspect of success. But the one of the main thing which is written here, which I would bring to the note, no, it is desire. Okay, yes, good. So very nice audience, intellectual kind of audience. I'm happy to have them. So before I go further, there is a question which is here. When you're working in organization, you're not planning your work, only managers plan. Yes, that's true to some extent. But if manager is intelligent, that intelligent manager will involve his subordinates also. But most of the time they plan, that I agree with you. But you can plan many other aspects of your life. And if you want to plan your work also, that's another thing which we'll be talking about next session. That how then you have to have an independent kind of, what do you say, work in your life. Because when we are joining organization, we are declaring ourselves to work for the organization. And the bosses will take control of our life. So that's a totally different question, but I agree with you, sir. Then when you work for organization, most of the planning is done by our bosses. But we are talking this seminar. There are many aspects in our life where we have control in our life, and if we can plan at least for that, and we can learn how to plan, and even the whatever task manager has given us, we can plan them also. How to do it. So that's wonderful. Very nice discussion. So, what is success? Key to success is not just having money, just not having comforts, just having gadgets. Happiness is also not just having all these things. What exactly we are talking about here? Because people think happiness is in the things. If I buy a particular object, then that will give me happiness. But the things cannot give us happiness. Things don't have that power to give us happiness. It's our emotional connection which is there in the things that gives us happiness. So, if things had the power to give us happiness, then they would be giving us happiness or all the time. We buy something and then after a few days we don't like that particular thing. Then it means where the happiness has gone. That's very temporary. Happiness comes, one of the first thing is health, when we are healthy. Second thing is when we have family and we share the joy with our family. Happiness comes when we have friends and we share our joy with friends. And happiness comes when we have spiritual growth, we have a connection for the higher energy, and we realize that spiritual happiness. So these are the things which we cannot avoid in our life. And that's why I'm asking with all of you, ask yourself, are you connected? What do you mean by connected? I'm talking about organizing self here. So my dear friends, first we need to understand what is the meaning of self. Self means body, self means mind, self means intelligence, self means soul, self means emotions. So, first question all of you have to ask with yourself, am I connected with my body? Am I connected with my mind? Am I connected with my emotions? Am I connected with my feelings and intellect? And ultimately with my soul? Am I connected with my psychophysical nature? Unless we connect with ourselves, how can we really enhance ourselves? How can we grow ourselves? Connecting with body means, are you aware of which part of your body is more stiff, more stressed out? Do you take some time out and try to observe the different part of your body and feel different part of your body? Are you doing some kind of exercises, some kind of yoga, some kind of breath work at the bodily level to feel your body, physical sensations which are happening? Body is talking to us even before we fall sick. Body gives signal. Body tells us that I'm not well. And even animals, when they get signals from their body, what they do? They leave everything. You must have seen, I have seen many animals, like even dogs in the street, sometimes you see, if they feel sick, they will not eat, they will not walk around, they will not do anything, they will just lie in a corner and give rest to the body. So we need to first understand that with our body and connect with our body and then organize ourselves around our body. And then also you need to understand the art of understanding your feelings. Many times our emotions are coming. Sometimes we have emotion of disappointment and guilt and loneliness. Sometimes we have emotions like joy, gratitude, kindness. So we need to understand which emotions I'm going through right now and then start connecting with these emotions. And the most important thing, which I'm going to talk about it when I talk about are you connected with your psychophysical nature? What do you mean by psychophysical nature? Psychophysical nature has many meanings, but according to our spiritual point of view, or say Eastern philosophical point of view, psychophysical nature means understanding your passion in life, understanding what you're inclined to do in your life. Because most of us are doing some profession, but is our profession in line with our psychophysical nature? I'm asking all of you. Just ask yourself in next 30 seconds, I'll come to you again. Whatever profession you're doing right now, whether it's a teacher, professor, research scholar, or working in a company, I don't know if some people are working in corporate world also, or whichever field of your life, whether it's electronics or computers, are you doing the work according to your Passion means there are some things in life which we are inclined to do naturally. If I have given a choice between managing a show, becoming a manager or coordinator, and a teacher, I would definitely prefer being a teacher because I just don't feel so happy while managing somehow. But I have seen people, they thrive by doing management. There are some people, they thrive in art, music. There are some people, they thrive in research, just keep reading and studying. And there are some people who just like to go out and meet people. So this is called psychophysical nature. What kind of psychophysical nature we are carrying? And we can see this, we can observe this in the children, in the childhood. And unfortunately, people don't do that. Parents don't do that. Teachers don't do that. Society doesn't do that. And what happens because of that? We choose wrong career. And later on, we realize that actually I was not meant to be this or that. And even if you continue that career, it doesn't give you satisfaction. Because satisfaction doesn't come. Like one of the person has written beautifully in the comments, in the chat box, uh, Radivari Manjula, doing what we like, that is success. That is really a success. Because when we get to do what we want to do, then work doesn't become burden. Work become a joy. And the results which we achieve through work, they're just extra. But when we don't enjoy our work, then all the things depend how much I'm going to achieve after it. And we start looking happiness from the results and from the appreciation we'll be getting from others. So basically we become dependent on other factors. But instead of becoming dependent on other factors, we have to also depend on what we like to do. And once we are connected with our psychophysical nature and we make that work part of our profession, and if we are not able to make that work part of our profession, unfortunately, because it's too late, we need to take out some time, either in the weekend or in the evening, to connect with that kind of work. That is called also organizing yourself. It's a very deep philosophical level. So I want to begin with this because this is the foundation. So my dear friends, please try to look into your life. And if you want, you can share either in the chat box or you can come on the screen with the video on. And tell me that the things which you are inclined to do, and whenever you got opportunity to do those kind of things, how you felt. And if your profession is also in that line, how you're feeling about it. And then organizing self become very easy. So this is called, are you connected? So if you're not connected, then my dear friends, you have to start connecting yourself at this level. And when you start connecting yourself with this level, then you have to ask yourself, am I emulating others? Am I trying to imitate others? Or am I trying to be what I am? And if you're trying to be what others are doing, we can never be happy. Why? Because first of all, we cannot achieve to that level because that is not very natural to us. And even if we achieve to that level by doing hard work, like say, if I'm inclined to be a teacher, but if I somehow become the manager and a very big manager post, I do MBA without knowing whether I'm inclined to for management, then that doesn't give satisfaction because certain kind of work doesn't satisfy us because our body and mind certain kind of activity. So please ask yourself, how much impact does peer pressure have on you? How much pressure? How many activities you are doing because of what others wants you to do? And you're getting affected by it. Identify the person or people who have the most influence upon you. Ask yourself, am I doing what I want to do or what they want me to do? Very important questions. Please make a note of these 3 questions because this will decide whether you are authentic to yourself, whether you are living an authentic life or you are living a fake life. Because many times, my dear friends, we are living a life based on what other people are expecting us to live, and that doesn't give satisfaction. So that's why I'm asking you, identify the person or people who have the most influence upon you. And you may realize that because you are influenced by so much by those people, somehow in this process, you have lost connection with yourself. You have lost what you are actually meant to do. So ask yourself, am I doing what I want to do or what they want me to do? It may be as simple as just eating some particular kind of food after marriage. So life is like a pendulum if you allow it to be a pendulum. Because it becomes a pendulum, somebody throws us from here and somebody throws us from there, and whatever comes on our way, we just take it and we're not able to balance it because we don't know what are the right things for me. The first thing when we talk about organizing self, doing the right things. And how will you define what are the right things for me? First of all, based on your psychophysical nature and not doing things which are not right. And then in control of life and not driven by circumstances. You should have control of your life, means there is a plan. I have made a plan for my life. And although there may be obstacles in that plan, but by the end of this year or by the end of this month, by the end of 6 months, I want to achieve these things. And those things can be at your personal level or professional level. So have right balance in wheel of life is organizing self. Organizing self is not just achieving one particular thing in life. If you just focus on achieving one particular thing in life, like you want to become a very successful professor or manager, and you put all your energy and time into it, you will never be happy. Like, see, these ladies in those days, even now also in some villages, water is still an issue after 70 years. Ladies have to go far just to fill some water, and they will be carrying like 3, 4 matkas on their head. And when they're carrying this water on their head, they're balancing all these pots, and you will be surprised. And when they're walking with all these pots, sometime in the market they will be buying some vegetables, and sometime they may be holding a one baby also in one of their hands. How they are able to do everything together? Because they have learned the art of balancing all these pots. Similarly, in our life also, we need to learn this art of balancing all aspects of our life when we talk about organizing ourselves. Otherwise, if we are just balancing only one part of our life, we are just focusing only one part of our life, it's like going to the circus. Just imagine you're going to a circus show and you have heard that there is a person there who do jumbling of the balls. You have seen jumbling of the balls? Like 5, 6 balls people throw in the air, and this person try to catch all of them. The person has 2 hands, but this person has 6 balls who are throwing in the air. But instead of 6 balls, you were expecting him to show you the jumbling of the 6 balls. He's just throwing one ball into the air and catching it. Throwing one ball into the air and then catching it. Will you be impressed? Not at all. You say, this I also can do. Why I have come here to pay the money and then show you just to see that throwing one ball in the air and catching it with one hand, another hand. So if you say I'm a very successful person just because I have become professor, just because I have become a manager, just because I have completed my PhD, but your health is gone bad, your emotional relationships are gone bad, your family situation is bad, your intellectually is not that sharp, can understand the things from various point of view, spiritually you're not elevated, then life is not very beautiful. So this is the first thing, my dear friends. You need to understand that you have to compartmentalize your life. You have to compartmentalize the different areas of your life, what you want to do. So first, understand your needs and then balance your needs. There are 4 needs which I am showing you: EQ, IQ, and SQ. Being intelligent people, being in the academic world, Definitely, you know the importance of IQ, but what about social life? What about how you're able to manage your emotions? How you're able to handle other people's emotion? How you're able to connect with other people? And how healthy you are? How much time you are giving for your physical health, which is most important. Because if health is destroyed, everything is destroyed. And what about SQ? Spiritual quotient, where you feel so elated, if you feel totally different personality by connecting with higher energy, trying to live a selfless life sometime and going beyond your body and mind. So my dear friend, this is another chart which I'm showing you here. When you're organizing yourself, please consider all these aspects. Consider the aspect of work, consider the aspect of your finances, your health, your community, your relationship, emotionality, spiritual life, everything. Everything needs to be included. Myself, my work, my finance, my health, my community, my relationship. And we need to make goals and plan for everything in life. Like here, this famous personality, former CEO of Coca-Cola, 30-second speech, Brand Dyson. What is there any volunteer who can read for me after unmuting yourself? What is written here? If you don't mind. No one. Imagine.
Imagine a life as a game in which you are juggling some five balls in the air. They are work, family, health, friends, and spirit. And you are keeping all these in the air. You will soon understand the work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. But the other four balls, family, health, friends, and spirit, are made of glass. If you drop one of those, they will be irrevocably sucked, marked, nicked, damaged, or even shattered. They will never be the same. You must understand that and strive for it. Work efficiently during the office hours and leave on time. Give the required time to your family, friends, and have proper rest. Value has a value only if it is a value is value.
Thank you. Thank you very much for reading this. Now, see, this person is a very successful man. CEO, Chief Executive Officer of a very big multinational company. And he's talking about that if you compromise with your family, health, friends, and spirit, then everything will be lost. They're like a glass ball. Once they drop it, it breaks. Because once health becomes destroyed, it's very difficult to bring it back. Once there is a problem in the family, in the relationship, it's so difficult to fix it again because it's very difficult to fix the hearts. Once there is a bitterness developed between husband and wife or father and son, or so many kinds of other relationships in the family. And same thing is the friends. With friends, you can't say that whenever I want, I will just access them whenever I need. Because friend is one who is a friend. What is that saying? Friend in need is friend indeed. Huh? But you say, okay, you are my friend, your friend in need is friend indeed, but you never invested your time into it. You will say, my dear friend, you should be investing some time. He will not say, but he will realize it. So and work is something, I'm not saying you compromise your work because work is going to be there. Even if there is some up and down in the work, it will again resume it bounces back because to even do your work, you need the support system of your health and family and friends, and especially your high spirit. So please understand your priorities first before organizing self because many times people talk about time management, but they don't know what to manage. People talk about time management, they don't know how to manage their energies. I believe more than the time management, we should believe in the energy management and desire management. What kind of desires we have, what kind of goals we have, what kind of energy we are carrying. If we don't focus on uplifting our energies by doing some yoga and meditation and kind of healthy exercises and having the right kind of diet and having the right kind of emotional support and relationships, how can you work efficiently for a longer period of time? It's not possible. So this is the first thing. Please just make a note of it. In this world, we are actually walking on a tight rope. Padam padam yat vipadam natesham. Every step there is a danger. Every step, we don't know which day some health crisis may come. We don't know which day family crisis may come and financial crisis may come. We need to keep all the things intact. So walking on a tightrope, that thing should be there in the mind. So when we are planning our life, let's begin a little more practical aspect now, which you may be waiting for a long time. And so first thing, you need to be aware of the direction of your life. It is not enough to have goals in mind. First, plan a direction. Now, I may have a goal that I want to drive a car. That can be a goal. But just driving the car from here to station and station to back my home and then home to station, the goal is completed, that you drove the car. But there is no purpose you achieved. You have not reached to the destination. So first, we need to decide the direction. What is the direction I want to take in next 1 year? What is the direction I want to take my life in next 5 years, next 10 years? And write it down. And I will emphasize more and more as we go ahead in our presentation. The saying here goes, palest ink is better than brightest memory. Because sometimes we feel, I remember things, I don't forget things. And we keep on making our goals in our mind. Okay, I will read this book in next 2 months, or I'll read these 3 books in next 6 months. We don't even plan in 6 months. We have an idea, okay, I want to read this book, but we never read it. Okay, I want to visit that family, I want to visit that friend, or I want to complete some particular course, or want to start some exercise every day for 1 hour. It never happens because we don't write our goals. So first thing, we have to have a direction, and then you write, what do you want to accomplish in next 5 years? Please write it. What do you want to accomplish in next 1 year? What do you want to accomplish in next 10 years? What do you accomplish in short-term point of view in next few months, next few years? Short-term goals and long-term goals both have to be written. And for that, what do you need to do, my dear friends? You have to write mission statement. Now, writing this mission statement, which I'm going to share with you, is not the work of one day. Sometimes it may take few days, sometimes it may take few weeks also. This is like writing your program of your life, what we want to be and to do in our lives. It's like writing the program of your life. It can change the whole direction of your life, because what has happened, the program for most of us is written by our friends and relatives and surroundings. We have our thought patterns and belief systems. We have been programmed to think in a certain way. Many of the children, they have been just told that you have to be doctor, you have to be engineer, you have to be chartered accountant. But they really don't know what is the program of their life. Writing a personal mission statement means personal constitution. What you value most in your life. What is the vision of your life for yourself? And unless we write this mission statement, how are we going to achieve it? We keep complaining that I'm not happy, I'm not achieving anything. I feel like I've lost the control of my life. First thing, write down. What do you write down? After writing a mission statement, you will feel a sense of clarity, a sense of organization and commitment, a sense of excitement and freedom. Very important line. Clarity. When we have clarity, it's so easy to put our energies into one direction. When we have clarity, it's so easy to say no to many things which we don't want to do. Like, say, if you have a clarity that you want to read this book in next 3 days, and in the evening we're going to spend 1 hour every day or 2 hours every day. If some people request you to do some time pass, it will be very easy for you to say no to them. But when you don't have clarity, There is no commitment. Commitment to the task, commitment to the goal, commitment to the work. And people say that I have difficulty in saying no to people because they don't have a strong yes to something else. And there is no excitement in their life. Like if I have decided, Vivek, you have to put at least 20 YouTube videos in next 40 days or next 2 months. Then there is a clarity and I am excited to read, to write a script, record it, edit it. There is excitement. And if I know I have to give a course after 15 days, like say one of the colleges is requesting me to make a syllabus for mindfulness course, I have a clarity that I wanted to go in this direction of doing courses for different colleges, different students, because that's what I've been doing all my life. I really get energy when I talk to people, and especially when I talk to leaders of the society, the teachers, the students. So it gives the excitement and freedom. What is the freedom? Freedom of worrying that what should I do, what should I not do, that person told me this, that person told me that, I'm not good in this, I'm not good in that, I'm very good in this, I know clearly and I have a clarity and I have made my goals in a direction based on my psychophysical nature. Writing or reviewing a mission statement changes you because it forces you to think through your priorities deeply, carefully, and to align your behavior with your beliefs. Please write down. Please write down what kind of life you want to live. Like, say, if somebody asks me, what kind of life? I want to live a life of balance, uplifting other people consciousness. This is like one of my part of the mission statement, which I am sharing with you. I want to live a life of, my mission statement of life is to live a life of balance. Balance means where I have my physical needs met, I have peace of mind, I have my family connections, and all these things come in the balanced life while uplifting others' consciousness. So that's why I choose the profession where I can contribute to the society and also living a balanced life where I have some earnings. Not like running after day, week after week, just same 14 hours, 16 hours of work. I work a few hours. So writing or reviewing a mission statement changes you because it forces you to think through your priorities deeply, please understand, and carefully, and to align your behavior with your beliefs. Instead of living out of the scripts given to me by my own parents or by my society or by genetics or my environment, I will be living out of the script I have written from my own self-selected value system. Now, this is the shift which will come in your life, my dear friends. If you start writing your mission statement, then there will be a shift which will come. Because the scripts which is written for us, that is written since our childhood, we have been programmed that you are meant to do this, it is good for you, society needs it, family needs it. We may have chosen our career because of various reasons. We may have chosen our behavior because of various reasons. We want to do many things, but we are not able to do it because of various reasons. But once you start writing, you will be writing your own script. And after writing your own script, what you want to do, then you have to define your roles. Very important. Because I may want to, like say, I want to have a balanced life, uplifting other people, consciousness, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I have some roles in my life. Role as a son, role as a husband, role as a teacher. So again, there is emphasis on writing here in few words. Can anybody read for me? Again, another volunteer, if you are available, unmute yourself and please read this. Just as breathing exercise helps integrate body and mind, writing is a kind of psychoneural muscular activity which helps bridge and integrate the conscious and subconscious mind. I repeating again, reading again. Just as breathing exercises help integrate body and mind. Now, this is also not many people know. Like I'm a mindfulness coach, meditation coach. The first thing, if you want to connect with your body and mind, you need to learn some breathing exercises, which I'm going to teach you in future sessions because I have 2 more sessions in this FDP. And the moment you start observing your breath, you connect with your body and mind deeper level. Similarly, when you start writing, it's a psycho-neural muscular activity which helps bridge the conscious and subconscious mind. Things start going more deeper, things start going more uh, clear. Writing distills, crystallizes, and clarifies thought and helps break the whole into parts. So when you write, it brings clarity. And also, there can be a big goal in your life, but then you break it into different parts. It's very important because when you break the goals into different parts, it becomes easier to execute them. And then write down your roles from different areas or capacities in which we have responsibility. What is the role? Role as an individual, a husband, a father, a teacher, a club member, a volunteer, and a businessman. Whatever roles you have. First, you write a mission statement, and then you write, as a husband, these are my role. As a husband, I want to do this. As a teacher, I want to do this. As a son, I want to do this. As a salesperson, I want to do this. Each of these role is important and you cannot neglect any of the role in your life. The moment you will neglect any of the role in your life, you can't say, I have been working 16 hours, I am earning money and I had no time to give to my children, no time to give to my wife, no time to give to my parents, no time to give to my society. Then you will miss one part of your life and then you will not feel complete and happy. Your mission statement will be much more balanced, much easier to work with if you break it down into specific areas of your life and the goals you want to accomplish in each area. So I repeat again, you have to write down your mission statement, then you have to define your roles, and for each role, you have to break down your mission statements into different roles. And then tasks come into picture. You cannot just sit with a to-do list and start writing, which is what many people do. Okay, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. They will write 10 things in their day and they will do tick 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 tick. Okay, 10 चीज हो गई, 10 things I have achieved and my life is successful. No, it doesn't work that way. Those 10 things should be in line with different roles of your life. Look at your professional role. You might be a salesperson, a manager, or a product developer. What are you about in that area? What are the values that should guide you? Those things are needed to understand. Think of your personal roles: husband, wife, father, mother, neighbor, friend. What are you about in those roles? And again, what is important to you? These things need to be considered in both personal roles and your professional roles. So, having said this much, and before going to another point, for each role in your life, you need to write the goals. I want to come back and ask if anybody has any question or anything to share before we go further. So is it clear till now, or any doubt you have, my dear friends? Because now I'm going to go to another uh, direction. After defining your personal statement, after defining your roles, now we need to learn to plan. We need to learn to divide the goals into different tasks and then give the priorities to the task. Many times when it comes to organizing self, people give priority to the work, but they don't give priority to different roles. So first we have to give priority to different roles, and after giving priority to different roles, then we have to give priority to which is important, which is not urgent, that we will discuss now. So I think people already have understood everything. That's why nobody is asking, or they have not understood anything. There's only two possibilities, or they already knew in this advance. I'll be happy, but if you can share some time. Yeah, he raised a hand. Somebody has raised a hand. Yes, please tell me. Somen Mandal. Yes, Somen. Please ask your question.
Sorry, sir, it's by mistake, sir.
It's by mistake. Okay. Okay, now onwards we have to practice. What is this? Fine. Let's go ahead. No problem. People are. So now, for each role in your life, you need to write the goals as a husband, as a volunteer, as a salesperson, as a son, whatever roles you have. And then break down goals into tasks. Tasks that take you towards your goal, one sheet a day. Now, for each goal, you may have goals. Like as a say, as a husband, I have a goal that I need to, let's say, spend some time with my wife. Or as a husband, I have a role that I need to set an amount of money to run my family. If wife is not working at all, she's just a housewife, and financial responsibility is there. As a son, I may have a role, then I need to take my parents to some doctor, or I need to take care of their health. So based on that role, you have some goals, and based on those goals, you have to divide those goals into a small task. And when you divide the goal into a small task, then this is a very important thing which people don't know, and this is again very important part of my presentation today. You need to understand this concept, my dear friends, because when we talk about task, we have to assign importance to those tasks, because some tasks are important and urgent, some tasks are important and not urgent, some tasks are urgent and not important, and some tasks are not important and not urgent. It looks a little confusing, but it's very simple concept. If you understand this, your life will become very easy. Let's see, this is called time management matrix. And what is this time management matrix? Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So there are some tasks which are urgent and important. There are some tasks which are not urgent and important. There are some tasks which are urgent and not important, and which some tasks which are not urgent and not important. See here. Now we'll spend some time in this particular slide, and if you have any question, please ask in this only, because this slide is going to change your life completely if you don't know about this concept before. Now see here, quadrant 1. What is quadrant 1? Quadrant 1 is actually important and urgent. There are many activities in our life, they comes in the category of quadrant and urgent. Which are these categories? Crisis, emergencies, disaster, deadline projects, last minute preparations, pressing problems. Let's say I'm giving this talk, and while giving this talk, some issue happens with my computer or with my internet, or something else which is like urgent. So I need to attend to it immediately. Or say I get a phone call after this talk or in the middle of talk, whatever, that there is an emergency. Like if a doctor, you get a call that there is a patient in the ICU and there is an emergency. The doctor has to run. There are some deadline projects. Means Aradhana ma'am had requested me to give this talk, and I have been postponing the preparation for this talk until today morning. And then around 10 o'clock, in emergency, I sit with my books, with my laptop, and somehow even 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I try to make this presentation. That's like a last minute work. And this creates lot of stress in our life. So on our own, we should not bring things to this quadrant, because there are certain things which will come automatically in this quadrant, because the nature of the world is like that. Like suddenly you get a phone call that one of your friend met with an accident. Now, there is no role of yours in this particular situation. You didn't create this situation, but this situation happened and you have to just run. But on our own, we should not bring our tasks into this quadrant 1. And how we bring the task into quadrant 1? By not paying attention to the tasks which are in the quadrant 2. That is called quadrant of quality. Important and not urgent. Like exercise. It's important but not urgent. If you don't exercise, nothing is going to happen immediately. But if you don't exercise for years together, then it will go into the urgent category. It will become important also, it become urgent also. And doctor will say, okay, you have a diabetes now, you have the knee issue now you have to everyday exercise no matter what happens. Relationship building, again, it's not urgent, but it's important, because if you don't pay attention, if you don't invest into your relationships, then what will happen? Relationship will not become very sweet. Relationship will not become trustworthy, because in relationships we have to invest time. Similarly, book you want to write, bonding with kids, preparation, planning, all these things comes in the quadrant 2. Like if I want to write a book, if I want to publish a paper, like research paper, and if I don't spend little time every day, then it will become urgent. Or like preparation for an exam. If I don't prepare little every day, then just before the exam, I will go into the quadrant 1, because now there is not much time left, but I have to give the exam. So quadrant 2 is very important quadrant, because if we focus in the quadrant 2 and we start executing the activities in the quadrant 2, then we will never be under stress, because we'll be ready for every situation. And there are some situations which we cannot avoid, we'll have enough time to deal with them. Otherwise, just imagine you have so many things which are in quadrant 1. Whole day, since morning till evening, you're just fighting with the issues with the quadrant 1. Like you got a phone call from your friend that is something happened on the road, please come and help me. Then you get a anxiety because you were supposed to give a talk and you have not prepared for it, which you could have done before, you have not done it. You have not been exercising, so you're facing a lot of issues in your body. That is also creating issue. You are not saving the money, you're not planning your finances, then also you're finding problem because you have lack of money. That's creating another pressure and anxiety on you. So don't invite too many things into quadrant 1 by focusing on quadrant 2. What is quadrant 3? Quadrant 3 is a quadrant of deception. What is quadrant of deception? Not important but urgent. Means there are many things which are not important but urgent, like interrupts productivity. Like somebody just make you a call, some mails are there, some reports are there, some meetings are there. Some things they appears to be very pressing, but you can avoid them. You can delegate them because they're not very important. Somebody else can do it. Like if some phone call comes and if you don't take it, it's not going to make much difference in your life. So you need to know what are the interruptions, what kind of people who interrupt you, so that you can learn to avoid them, what kind of calls which interrupt you, what kind of meetings which are not, they appear to be very pressing. That's like deception. Deception means धोखा. धोखा हो जाता है, ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है लेकिन वो इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. It appears like very urgent, maybe urgent but not important for me, so why should I pay attention to it? Like sometimes two people are talking and some phone call comes and you just pick it up. Seems to be very urgent but it's not important, why should I pick it up? Then the last, fourth one is the worst, quadrant of waste. Not important, not urgent. No goals achieved. Spending too much time on social media, checking fun mails, time wasters, mindless TV shows, wasting good time, busy work, this kind of things. People feel like just time pass. You have seen this term called time pass? Completely waste of your time. Time pass, time pass. So we should try to avoid as much as possible quadrant 4. So again, the same thing from different point of view. Quadrant 1 is the person who is a procrastinator. जो बहुत आलसी है, जो चीजों को बाद में आगे धकेलता रहता है. He doesn't pay attention to the value of time. We'll do it later. Exam tomorrow. Friends get injured. Late for work. Prioritize planning, goal setting. The person in quadrant 2 is a very intelligent person who knows how to organize his or her life. Planning, goal setting, essay due in week, but I will start from today only. Exercise, and every day I'm going to do. Relationships, I'm going to invest time. I'll meet my friend, I'll meet my wife, I'll meet my other relatives. I'll take out, I'll plan time for it. Because unless we plan for meetings, then it will never happen. Relaxation, it's a very important need. If we don't take out time to relax, sleep properly, take some breaks and do some psychic sleep, yoga nidra, guided meditation, body is mind not going to relax. And if it is not going to relax, the reactions will come. Stress will increase. Suppressed emotions will bother you. And the third one is yes man. Whatever comes to life, he says yes. Any phone call, he attends to it. Any person comes to meet, okay, he says we'll meet. And forgets that so many other important things are pending and I have to pay attention to it. Peer pressure. Because so many people are asking me to do it, I'll just do it. Yes man. Paying attention to urgent and not important things. And when you pay attention to urgent and not important things, you don't function in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. And especially when you work in the quadrant 4, the slacker, slacker is useless, lazy, time waster, too much TV, endless phone calls, just बात कर रहे हैं तो कर रहे हैं, घंटों बात चल रही है. Excessive computer games. Nowadays I am seeing children, they're just, after this COVID, they're just on their mobile all the time. It's such a big addiction. I have my cousin, you not imagine, he was such a brilliant guy, but now he has got addicted. And morning 8 o'clock he gets up and he picks up his phone, and night until 12 o'clock he is just playing video games on it. And if you try to change him, it's a teenager, 15-year-old boy, and if you try to tell him anything, he gets angry, wild. It's like waste of life. Now, this is important to summarize. Now, this kind of chart you should have in your mind or in a piece of paper, whatever you like. Any task which is there on your list, okay? First thing you have to write all the tasks. Now you have to give importance to each task. Then you have to give importance to each task. Ask yourself, is this task important? Does it align with your values and goals? That's very important. Does it align with your values and goals? If answer comes no, it means it's not important. Then ask second question, is it urgent? Will something bad happen if you don't address it now? If you say no, like say playing video game, nothing bad will happen if you don't play the video game. Nothing bad will happen if you don't watch a Netflix show. No, nothing bad will happen. It means it's in the quadrant 4, eliminate from the list. I don't pay attention to it. It's not important for me, it's not urgent for me. Why should I put in my list? When you ask yourself, is it urgent? And it says yes, it means it's urgent but it's not important. Then somebody else can do it. Because it's very important, then I'll do it. And if it's not very important, I can delegate to somebody else or it can wait. Now come back again. If it is important, yes. And if it is urgent, yes, then do it right now because nobody else can do it and you only have to do it and you have to do it now. Will something bad happen if you don't address it now? Yes, something bad will happen. Because if your friend met with an accident, something bad will happen if you don't go and attend to him. If you've forgotten to pay the bill for electricity, if you don't pay it immediately, your electricity will be cut. If there is some check has bounced in the bank and if you don't pay attention to it, something bad will happen. So there are certain things which are important and which are urgent when you have to do it now. So finish them immediately. But if they are not urgent, but if they are important, then you can decide to reschedule them. Like say reading a book. It's not urgent, but it's important. So I can schedule it to do it in the evening or maybe next day or maybe day after tomorrow for 2 hours. I may have to prepare a presentation which I have to give after 1 week. If I don't prepare today, it's fine. I can do it tomorrow because the presentation is after a week. But it's important but not urgent. But if presentation has to be given tomorrow morning, so it's urgent, it's important, I have to sit tonight only to finish it. This is a very important thing, my dear friends. Again, I am showing in a different way the chart. Quadrant 1, if important and urgent, do these tasks right now. If not urgent but important, schedule when to do these tasks. Not important but urgent, assign the task to someone else. And if they're not important and they're not urgent, then delete or leave them aside for the time being. So this is another concept which I wanted to share with you. And now, again, if anybody has any question about this, please come forward and you can ask me right now. So after deciding the direction of your life, after deciding the personal statement of your life, after deciding your roles in life, and after deciding the different goals of your life, after deciding the goals based on your roles, dividing the goals into the task, you have to prioritize the task after giving the due importance to them. And assigning the importance to a task, then you have to put them into different boxes. Urgent and important, not urgent, important and important and urgent. And then you can go ahead. For Q, I have learned and practicing, but now onwards I have to think and try it. Okay, try it. So any questions, my dear friends, till now? Have you understood the concepts? Okay, I think again, people are more worried about attendance link. Great. So here, where most of us are in the Q1, Q3 and Q4, unfortunately. And where we should be, most of us should be in the Q2. Because if you are in Q2, then we don't have to work mostly in Q1, Q3 and Q4. So please try to bring your life into Q2. That is the main message when you try to organize yourself. If you'll be working in not urgent and important parts of your life, then you will never have to work most of the time, not never, most of the time you don't have to spend too much time in this urgent and important quadrant. And if you are very much aware of what you want to achieve, then you will also not waste your time in Q3 and Q4. Okay? So now, these are the things you need to do, my dear friends. Identify your biggest time wasters. Which are the biggest time wasters? Do you ask yourself, do you really need to spend 2 hours on the phone? Because sometimes we call somebody, and after calling somebody, or some phone call comes, and we keep talking to that person, just continue the discussion. And we are not able to say no or hang on the phone. Sometimes we keep surfing the internet all night or watch the TV series. So please write down what are your biggest time wasters. The time wasters can be some people, time wasters can be some TV series, time wasters can be just mindlessly surfing the internet, or time waster can be like some particular website has announced a sale and you keep on scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and you end up buying things which you really don't need on the name of sale. So when we talk about mindfulness, when we talk about organizing your life, You also need to understand that which are the things which are pulling my attention, which are distracting me. And then, are you a pleaser? Ask yourself. Because there are some people who are in the category of people pleaser. They just can't say no to people. And why they can't say no? Because they feel shy. They feel, how can I say no to somebody? That person will feel bad. Someone who says yes to everything and everyone, and if so, have the courage to say no. So, from where this courage to say no will come? From where will you bring this courage to say no? Now, I need answer to this question from you. I'm not going to answer this. How will you get the courage to say no when people ask you to do certain things? How you say no to people?
If I'm confident on that particular thing, then I can say no.
Give me an example.
If you're doing certain work and if the manager asks you to do something different, if you're confident that the process is not correct, then you can always say no.
Okay, that's a beautiful answer. Let's talk about something in personal life. Like if say manager asks you to wait for 2 hours in the evening extra, how will you say no?
It depends upon the situation.
Yeah, let's assume a situation where your manager is saying that, okay, can you wait today? We have some extra work,
No,
and
still
you have a very pressing function at home. So how will you say no? On what basis you can say no?
you have to prioritize which is more important, then you have to take a decision.
That's true, but people are not able to say because we are talking about a pleaser.
That's why I raised the question: is it applicable to workplace also? That is the reason in my previous question I raised a question: if that four quadrats is applicable to the workplace also.
Why not applicable? Why you raise that question? Why you think it's not applicable?
Because the reason is that you are not under control of yourself, you are under the control of your boss. So in such a
Okay.
case, obviously you have to obey their orders, and as well
So,
as you have to
so,
do things.
so, so, do you think that when we are working under a manager, we are like a slave and we have to do everything what they tell us to do?
It's
We
not
have
like
no say.
it's not a slave kind of something, it's a kind of commitment.
It's a commitment. Okay. What is the difference between slavery and commitment?
Commitment is nothing but where you committed yourself to do your job perfectly and you have to complete the task without any kind of uh, favoritism or something like that, where the slavery is that even if they say wrong, you have to say wrong. It's like a boss is always right.
So it means you have a freedom.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah. So if you have a freedom, then you can use this. You just said because I cannot use it because I don't have freedom in the job. Because boss decide everything. Let's say boss gives you 5 tasks in the day. Okay. That these things you need to complete. But how to prioritize those tasks is in your hand. How to schedule those tasks is in your hand. Or is going to feed you like they feed like baby, spoon feeding. Sir Ari was not able to pronounce.
You
So,
can call me Hari, sir, no problem.
what should I call?
Hari, you can call me.
Hari.
Yeah.
So, Hari, will you ask you like every 10 minutes, okay, show me now what you have done? Or give me the report of every minute how you're proceeding your day?
Yes, sir, sometimes.
Really? So,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you are a slave then. It doesn't
No,
give
it's
any
a,
freedom
it's
then.
a, you know, it's a kind of accountability. They are thinking that no, it's a kind of accountability where we have to submit a report of the people who are working under me and what their task has been completed, etc. It's a task for
So,
him.
so my dear friend, if unfortunately your manager is asking for every minute detail, then actually this seminar is useless for you. I agree with you, because there is some amount of freedom and some amount of trust our manager has to have in us if they want us to grow and they want to really take lead in our life. But
Absolutely, sir.
if unfortunately your manager is in a kind of person who wants every minute that how you're doing it, how you're doing it, then you will not have any freedom to do it. So then I think you will not be able to apply it. Just drop it. But the people who have some freedom in the life, who have the managers have the trust in their what do you say subordinates, that if I give him some task, then my subordinate can manage it nicely, then people grow, because one of the principle of growth is trust. Unless we trust our subordinates, they will never grow. And if they don't grow, I will not grow. Team will not grow. Organization will not grow. So you ask the question, and my answer is that if you're not given any freedom, then you can't use it. And once you have freedom, let's talk about the people, those who have freedom. Are they able to exercise these techniques? Are they able to plan what they want in life? Are they able to say no? Are they people pleaser? Because if you keep saying yes to everything what your boss is asking you, at the end of the day, you will burn out. It's just a matter of time. So it's not commitment. I don't agree it's a commitment or accountability which you're talking about, Harry. It's a more of a like fear that I may lose my job because I can't even express what I need in my life. If my son is having issue or if my wife is having an issue, I need to express that I can't stay. And people have this insecurity because this insecurity is created in their life by their bosses. Why it's created? Because we want to be insecure. We are not very clear what we want in our life. I really, and second point which I always share, because many times people ask this question when we talk about these life empowering skills, they say we can't do it because we are working under people. You have chosen to work under people. Hmm. We have chosen to work under people. If you want, still you can make a career next 10 years, next 15 years, next 20 years, where you will have more freedom. And how will you have more freedom? Once you invest in yourself. When you will invest in yourself, more skill development, more of entrepreneur kind of things will come out eventually from your personality. So it's a very big topic to discuss, a debatable topic. As you rightly said, Professor Harry, that depends on situation. I totally agree with you. It depends on situation. But more important than just depending on the situation, it also depends on direction we want to take in our life. If we are not clear, it becomes very difficult. So don't be people pleaser. That's what point I'm trying to say. Because people, when they want to make everybody happy, then they can't say learn to say no. Then second point is, if you have an important test in 1 week, don't procrastinate and wait until the day before to study. Buckle down and study a little each day. This is another thing which I was sharing. I'll share. Before that, somebody else was asking something. Is there anyone? Somebody had raised the hand. Okay, one more thing is there in the chat box. Self-realization is more important. We have to plan and work accordingly. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing this. Nice. Great. Let's go back to the slides. If you have an important test in 1 week, don't procrastinate and wait until the day before to study. Buckle down and study a little each day. This we discuss. Think of something you have procrastinated for a long time, but that's very important to you. Block out time this week to get it done. Like say, let's take Professor Harry's example, that my boss is not allowing me to do much. Accountability is there, commitment is there. So, and I had a desire to read a book for a long time. And it's very important for me to grow in my career, to grow as a person. So, very simple thing what you can do if you don't have much control in your professional life, but we always have control beyond our working hours. So block out time, like say one of the evening, one of the weekend, and then it will happen. It's a very simple thing. I think you can do it. Write your 10 most important big rocks for the coming week and then block out time on your schedule to accomplish each one. Like in time management or when you organize yourself, there is a concept called like you take a glass or say jug. This is a very famous example which people use in time management workshops and seminars. Like first you fill the jar with some big stones and then you ask, is the jug is full? The person will say, yes, it's full. Then you pour some small stones into it. Then whatever space was remaining after filling the jug with the big stones, the small stones will fill it. Then you ask the person, is the jug full now? Then person will say yes. Then you pour some sand into it. After pouring the sand into it, then you ask the person, is the jug full now? The person will say yes. Now it's really full. There are big rocks, there are small pebbles or rocks or stones, and there is a sand. Now there is no place in it. Then the person will take one glass of water and start pouring into it. So, like that, in life also, there are some big slots we can fill with big work, but in between, we can do some small work also, and in between, we can do much more small work also. That's how we have to block our schedule and time. The things which will take more time, the things which will take less time, and where we fill how much. This is another thing which you need to keep in mind, my dear friends. Now, this is the thing. Now we are coming close to end our seminar. Write down goals of your life, and this is going to be 3 times I have written here because write down, write down, write down. Unless we write down, things are not going to manifest. Practice to-do list for at least 3 months. These are some small habits which we need to develop because anything which we want to implement in our life, we have to start with small habits. Then it becomes a habit. Don't give up. If you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I'll again read this. Write down goals of your life, write down goals of your life, write down goals of your life. And goals of life, my dear friends, you are going to write, I'm repeating again, based on different roles we have in our life. Like my dear friend was asking that in professional world we are taking one role, but besides that particular role as a teacher, as a professor, whatever, or as a clerk, we have another role as a husband, as a father, as a son, as a volunteer in social circle or as a friend. So we can write goals as a friend. I want to spend 2 hours in this week with 3 friends. Or as a friend, I want to have a get together with other friends. Or as a volunteer, in next 15 days, I want to do this particular activity of charity or giving some time of myself to this particular institution, organization, or NGO or whatever. So this kind of thing you can write down. It's very simple. And then please keep on practicing it because what happens when we try to develop a habit, most of the time people get disheartened and discouraged because they are not able to do it consistently for a longer period of time. And when they are not able to do it consistently for a longer period of time, they feel I'm not good at and they give up. instead of giving up, even if you are able to do like 40%, 50% what you had planned, at least you have started walking in that direction. So that's why don't give up. Keep trying. Like you plan to, it's a very, like in the beginning, it looks very complicated things. Oh, first you have to write down your mission statement, then you have to write down your roles, then you have to divide the roles and your goals based on your roles. Then you divide your goals into tasks, and then you have to assign importance to each task. So in the beginning, it's looked like a very big thing, but eventually when you start practicing it for a few months, it will become very simple. The moment any task will come in front of you, you will understand whether it falls in the Q1 or Q2 or Q3 or Q4, and immediately you will decide like 5 minutes to 10 minutes in a day is enough to write down all the tasks and then to give them the assigned what you say importance to them. So please don't give up before trying for 3 to 6 months. Creating to-do list. So first thing, your daily list of tasks that take you towards your goal. One sheet a day. Every day try to write on a one fresh sheet, or maybe nowadays in mobile we have reminders and everything. And then you give importance to them, whether this task is important and urgent, or it is important and not urgent, it is urgent and not important, it is not important and not urgent. Junk mail, time wasters, interruptions. I think you're clear about this one. Now create the list before you start the day. That is the best thing. Or even much better is like you write in the night before going to the sleep for the next day. What are the things you're going to do next day? And just 15 minutes. It will not take more than 15 minutes, my dear friends. I can assure you that. And at the end of the day, you can review the status. If the task is completed, you can write C. If task is transferred because it was not important and you could delegate it to somebody, you can write T. Or if task was not important, not urgent, you can just write abandoned. You didn't want to do it. It just came on the list, but it's not required. And if it is not completed, like you have been reading a book and you have decided to read like 15 pages, but you could read only 10 pages, then you can just write I in progress. Like see, you can make a sheet like this, prepare slides for PPT. It's Q1 because I have to give the presentation tomorrow, and then I just need 30 minutes because I already have done the PPT, but I have to add few slides. It's completed, just write C. Collect attendee info. It's Q2. It's not urgent, but it's important. But I will do it. You can schedule it to particular time. So like that, you can write Q1, Q2, Q3, and then time needed, and then task, whether it's C, confirm to manager about tomorrow's plan. It's look little complicated, but it's not that complicated. Maybe you can just begin with first writing your mission statement. Then just write your roles as a person, and then write some goals based on your roles. And then this is very important, my dear friends. I just want to share a few tips with you in the end before we close for today. SWOT analysis. Now, I'm sure most of you must have heard about this. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. When you're talking about psychophysical nature in the beginning of my presentation, you need to also consider over the years which are your strengths, like what you're good at. And how we understand what we are good at? The things which are very natural to us, things which we can do with more confidence, without getting tired, without any fear, without fear of being judged or being ridiculed. So write down what you're good at, what are your weaknesses, because if some weaknesses are there, then we can avoid those things. First focus on the main part which are good at. Many times people get trapped in what? They start focusing more on what their weak areas are, but that's not the way to success. First we should begin what we are good at, and when we gain confidence by doing things what we are good at, we can even take care of certain things which we are not good at. That success or that confidence covers up that weakness part actually. And then you should be very much aware of what are your opportunities and don't lose them, and what are your threats. This is called SWOT analysis. Please try to keep this also in mind when you're organizing your life. Get up 15 minutes early. If you're getting up at 6 o'clock, just get up at 5:45 to plan. And these 15 minutes will change the direction of your life. Deal effectively with interruptions. Now, this is where most people fail. And especially nowadays, because of these gadgets, interruptions have become too much. That's why sometimes you can learn this, you can develop this habit of switching off your phone, like say 1 hour in the evening, or say 1 hour in the morning, or 2 hours in the evening, and lets people know that you're not available on phone in this particular time of the day. And people will develop the habit. People will get used to it. In the beginning, they will complain, they will sarcastically give a remark, oh, you're not available, we called you, you never called back. You don't have to get affected by these things. You can say that, yeah, I'm available, but at this particular time, I'm not available. So learn to speak, learn to say, learn to not get affected when people just make fun of you or try to ridicule you. Some part of the day, just keep aside all kind of interruptions. And even if phone is ringing, messages are coming, you don't have to just keep checking the phone again and again, anytime, tong, tong, tong. No need. Otherwise, you will not be efficient in your work. Update your to-do list daily, that I'm sure you will do it. Do not overschedule. This is another problem. In enthusiasm, people make plans, and those plans are very unrealistic. And when we have unrealistic plans, what happens? Unrealistic plans never achieved. So don't overschedule and don't underschedule also. And you will get a knack of it after a few days, after a few weeks, that I'm overscheduling. And then you will understand what is my capacity, how much time I take for this particular activity. Because different people have different uh, capacity and way of working. Some people work very fast. Some people not work so fast. Some people can do certain things fast and other things not so fast. That's why I was talking about psychophysical nature and strengths. So if you know that particular activity take more time for you, like say getting ready, like some people can get ready in 10 minutes if you want to go somewhere, but some people need half an hour. Some people really take long time in the bathroom to take bath and all. I don't know what they do, but some people can take just 10 minutes. So try to include each and every aspect when you're scheduling your life. You can't say just I will take bath, but you have to include that point that I take actually 40 minutes when I go to bathroom, or I take 10 minutes, or I take half an hour to get ready. So based on that only you can have goals and desires and goals. Keep your list in sight. That is also very, very important. Your list either should be on a piece of paper in a diary, or if you're using your phone, then you have to be check your phone like regularly. The best thing which I have found, which people have done, like sometimes they put whiteboard in their office, or they in their room, in their home, and they write there. If they don't mind others seeing it, then writing on the whiteboard is the best, because they are in front of your eyes and just keep hitting you, and you can never miss the particular task, and you will not lose any time. You will not allow yourself to get distracted when your goals and roles and tasks are written in front of you. But if you cannot write on the whiteboard because of some public place or because of the privacy may be hindered, then you need to write on the notebook, and you have to look at it time to time. Or if you write in the mobile, then also you have to read at it, like after half an hour, after 1 hour, you have to have a look at it. Delegate. Delegate. Because sometimes we just feel that everything we only have to do. No, it's not possible. It's not possible that we do everything. That's why it's very important to find out the things which, if we don't do it, how much it is going to affect. Even you have to pay to do certain things by other people, it's worth. Like you can calculate in a way, if I can make some amount of money, like this, I'm again talking about people who are more of an independent entrepreneur kind of people. You can think about how much my time is valuable. If I spend 1 hour, then how much I can earn. And if I give the same amount of time to this particular activity, and this particular activity can be delegated to somebody else by paying some money. Like simple example of driving your own car or going by taxi. It's not an idealistic example, but whatever is coming to my mind, I'm sharing. It's a very practical example. Driving your car may save some money, and hiring a driver or taking a taxi may cost you little extra. But it will also give you 1 hour extra if you are fighting with the traffic, or half an hour extra, or 40 minutes extra. So if you are very much time conscious, and if you are organizing your life, and if you want to achieve more, then what's wrong in paying little extra and then using that 40 minutes to achieve something which will give you 10 times more money what you're giving to extra to a driver. So it's called like exchanging energy. In our yoga concept also we call it. So there's nothing wrong if you delegate and pay something for it, and then you use the same amount of time for doing something much wonderful which you can contribute to the society, and which can also add some more money in your life, and which can also give you more satisfaction. Get organized, use paper, use email, use reminders. This is again very important concept. Do difficult task first. Sometimes what happens, because of fear, because of the procrastination mentality, because of lack of confidence, we keep on postponing the difficult task for later point of time. And when you postpone difficult tasks for later point of time, it creates more anxiety, more stress, and more worry in your life. But when you deal the difficult task immediately, or as soon as possible, the big burden, the big heavy stone which is sitting on your head, it lightens, it gets lightened. So please try to see in your list which are difficult tasks. So pay attention to them also. It's very important. Don't run away from the difficult tasks, because the more you will run away from them, more stress they will create, and more efficiency and overall mood will be destroyed. Write down goals in the first important step. Break down goals into tasks. Understand your most effective time zone. This is another very important point. Each one of us has some particular part of the day when we are very effective. Some people are very effective in the morning. Some people are very effective in the afternoon. So try to understand which part of the day you are more effective for particular kind of activity. Like say a very simple example which you can relate with me immediately. If I plan to read a book after my lunch, it's not going to be effective time, because after having a heavy lunch, most of our blood is actually, or you can say the focus of the body is around belly, and we feel little sluggish. Sometimes we may feel even lethargic and sleepy. So any activity which required very much attention, and just with the book in front of the screen, you may feel sleepy, and it won't be very efficient. You may say that I read 1 hour, but how much you have consumed, how much you have absorbed is very less. So then you have to plan also your activities based on how much you are effective in which part of the day. After the lunch, having a meeting is a very good time. After lunch, meeting somebody or calling for a meeting or talking to somebody on phone, those kind of things can be done. So like that I am saying, similarly the yoga and meditation, the most effective part in the morning, because there is a mode of goodness is there. Spending time with your friends, maybe in the evening, or maybe again the relaxing exercises in the evening. So like that you have to see which most effective time zone is for what activity. Create daily to-do list for next month. This already I told to you. A page list works best. We have more time available than we think. This is very, very important. We have more time available than we think. When we write down on paper, when we divide the activities into tasks, when we give them assigned importance, then you will realize that we have more time than we think. Because when you write down, you will realize that many activities I don't need to do because they don't fall in line with my personal mission statement. You will realize there are many activities which are not important, which are not urgent. Why should I do it? You will realize that many activities are just interruptions. I'm just wasting time with them. So you will get more time. I mean you will, and when you realize that I have a lot of time at my disposal, immediately the feeling of relaxation comes, immediately the feeling of confidence comes. So make time management a habit, do it now and don't postpone it. And time management is not just managing the time, time management is planning your priorities first. And after deciding your priorities, giving time to all the aspects means all the aspects. Which are those all the aspects? Your financial aspects, your social aspects, your health aspects, your intellectual aspects, your emotional aspect, your spiritual aspect. And then writing a personal mission statement based on all these priorities, and then dividing your life on different roles and writing small statements or goals based on those roles, then divide the task and give the right importance and start practicing it. So my dear friends, this much I wanted to share today with all of you. And if you have any question or anything to share from your life which can benefit our other friends who are attending this seminar or talk, this is my YouTube channel also. If you want, you can see some videos there. On mindfulness, there are a lot of videos I have uploaded in last 2-3 months. So they will also help you along with this. But before that, I want to request that if you want to share any realization from your life or any particular habit which you have practiced in your life to organize your life, to achieve more and feel more satisfaction and happiness, I'll be happy to hear, which will help me, which will help everybody. And if you have any question based on what I have discussed,